Hi everybody, Michael here. So a couple of weeks ago we released the Lobster Holder all-in-one and well, I am not going to lie, it went way better than I expected. Which, if you've been following this channel, you know that my expectations are historically very low. I thought I would be happy selling tens of the original holders, but well, here we are. We also put out an introduction video for the AIO, which some of you may have seen. About 10,000 of you apparently, which is completely bonkers. It's 10,000 more people than I thought would voluntarily watch a man in a black t-shirt at a black table presenting a product made entirely out of black plastic. In hindsight, not my finest production decision. So I fixed that by wearing a slightly less black t-shirt today with the logo of my favorite boy band. But seriously, thank you. The response has been incredible. The feedback, the messages, the photos of your setup, all of that genuinely means a lot. So thank you for giving this little wheel holder a chance. Now, one thing I kept hearing from people after that first video was, well, okay, cool, I see how you put it together. But what does it actually look like to just, sit down and scan a roll of film with this thing? And that's a fair point. That's exactly what we are going to do today. I'm going to take a roll of film, load it into the AIO, scan it, and take those scans into Lightroom and process them start to finish. If you already own the AIO, hopefully this gives you a few ideas or confirms you're doing it right. And if you're still on the fence, well, I'll show you what your Tuesday evenings could look like. Okay, well, let's get started. First, let me show you how you set up your AIO. There we go. That was kind of easy, right? Of course, I'm being a bit cheeky here, but the truth is this is how I stored it in my drawer. I don't really shoot digital these days that much, and if I want to go out and shoot, I pick one of my film cameras. So this is what I have. Of course, if you have one camera, then you would have to put this on the table and mount your camera on the tripod mount. I'll be honest, it's a bit finicky, but you will get used to it. Then what you need to check is you have your camera aligned. I can see that the bottom of my camera, because my camera doesn't have any intricate shapes. It's kind of rounded rectangle. It aligns with the bottom part of the the camera base. And I know that this is already set up for 35mm. I have a mark on this rod for scanning 6x6. So if we were scanning 6x6 today, I would unscrew the screw at the bottom and just move it to the correct position. So that's what we have. Now let's put in our film. So let me fetch the film. What we will be scanning today is one of the films of my colleagues a couple months ago, and yeah, it's a couple months. I ran a short seminar about how to scan, how to shoot film, and how to develop it back in my office or at the office where I work with. It was a lot of fun. People developed their film for the first time. Actually, let me show you how you do this. People learn how to shoot analog. I borrowed them some of my cameras, and then we developed the film together in the office kitchen. It was a ton of fun. Of course, I'm doing that so that I kind of nurture my customer base, and it works. Two of my colleagues actually use lobster holders, which is great. Okay, so we have our film loaded. So let's stuff it in like so. I actually don't have a plug here, so let me use my battery bag for the light. Turn that thing on and turn on the camera. Now, of course, what you need to do here is to align it, and I see that it's completely out of focus, so let's focus that. Ballpark. Okay, you know what, let me find a different frame. So this is a film of one of my students, so I don't really know what's there. we're gonna be pleasantly surprised. I hope they didn't take any nudes. Well, if so, I will have to censor it because of YouTube. Anyway, so what you want to do here is focus on the grain. There is really not much grain visible, so let me pick something more gray. Yeah, this is better, maybe. Okay, let's try this. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, this is good. Let me check the alignment. Yeah, this is fine as well. So some people really do care about the borders and borders being visible. I don't give a damn. The only thing I want is to have as little work as possible with post-processing, and if I can avoid cropping my scans, then that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, and no, I am not wearing gloves because I don't know, A, I can't find them, my office is a complete mess, and B, I really don't have the need for them. Like I'm so used to handle film that I just don't touch it. I don't know. Okay, one last thing, exposure settings. So I will close the aperture to f.8. Let me see the histogram. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, let's give it a bit more light. Yeah, that's more like it. Okay, I think we're good to go. So I have my remote shutter in, and let's go scanning. Let me actually finish this, number 1. And now it will get really boring, as I mentioned. Number 2. 3. 4. Oh, that's an interesting picture. 5. 6. 7. 8. If you have a newer camera than me, you can probably do this even faster, because my camera takes a bit of time to process the picture that it has just taken. One thing I really like is the fact that once you tighten the AIO, everything is super rigid. Like, it doesn't wobble, it doesn't go anywhere. It's great. Like, I built my own copy stands, out of IKEA leg tables and stuff like that, and it always wobbled so much. Not this. This is super solid, and it's fast, as you can see. Like, it's really fast to use. There we go. Almost done. Wow. That's one thing I really hate about 35mm. It's too many pictures. That's why I vastly prefer 120. There's not that many pictures to scan, not that many pictures to waste, and I usually, my sweet spot is around 10 to 12. If I have more, it's kind of hard for me to figure out what I will actually shoot. I think 35mm or 36 pictures is more kind of for vacations and stuff like that. But does anybody really do that these days? Like, I when I go for vacation, especially with kids, I just took a digital camera because I can't be bothered to waste a lot of money and time on taking vacation photos. I shoot film when I want to go and shoot and experience, the whole process and kind of the mechanical vibe of the M2 or my TLRs or the large format. That's why I do that. Okay, almost at the end. Okay, these ones are really underexposed. So we'll see if we'll be able to get something out of it. Is it the last one? I think so. So for the Prague based, you probably recognize some of these pictures. Yeah, it was taken in the center of Prague, namely around the Karlín area, which is my favorite part of Prague. All right, all done. Now let's get to processing. Okay then, let's get processing. So what I did is I imported the pictures and cropped all of them, because I don't think you want to watch me cropping pictures for 10 minutes. I also took some of the scans out because my colleagues are in some of these, so, and I don't think they would really appreciate being on YouTube without their consent. So it's not the whole 36 pictures, but I think it's more than enough. So what you want also to do before the conversion for in Negative Lab Pro is to find a piece of empty emulsion, or a scan of an empty emulsion, and use it as a segment for color balancing your pictures. That way you even out any color cast that the film base might give to the scans. So we've done all of that, and now let's get to processing. So hit Ctrl N, and we'll open Negative Lab Pro. I don't think we need to mess with any of these. No, this is all good, and yeah, raw analysis is on. Okay, let's give it some time. As I mentioned, I do use Negative Lab Pro exclusively. I've tried a bunch of different software, and I tried inverting my scans manually. This is by far the best, or it gives me the best results. I really recommend it, especially because of the raw analysis feature. So what it does is it analyzes all the pictures that you've selected, and I suppose it either evens out or profiles all the levels, so that the conversion is actually consistent. What I forgot to do here is to actually select the first picture so that it takes the whole screen. There we go. And let me pick a basic tone profile. Let's go with lab standard. I think all of these are pretty good starting point, so let's go with lab standard and sync that to all the other pictures. As I mentioned, I don't know what's on this film. This was shot by one of my colleagues during our workshop, so it will be a surprise for all of us. Oh yeah, this is kind of dark, so let's skip that. Okay, this looks pretty nice. Maybe let's give it a bit more exposure. Yeah, nice. Nice. Okay, this is a weird shot. Oh, the Hilton Hotel, nice. As I mentioned, this was shot in Prague, Karlín area. So for those from Prague, you probably recognize this. Let's add a bit of blacks. Yeah, that's it. I don't like how gray the sky is, so maybe let's try to do something about it. Okay, let's move on. I mean, the composition is off, but I like the tonality. Also, I can see that there's probably something wrong with the camera. because there's this band of lighter picture on, I think, on all of these. Yeah, might be, might not be. Okay, bit of out of focus, but you know, we are not shaming. This was probably their first time holding an analog camera, so I wouldn't expect great pictures right out the bat. Oh, I think this is not too bad. I really like the architecture around the Caroline area. You know, it's a great mix of brutalist architecture alongside with newer buildings, alongside actually Gothic architecture. I really like the mixture. Huh, forgot to turn how to transform this one. So let's do it later. I don't think we can do it here, no. When the NLP is open. Oh, I wonder what the artist meant by this picture. You being chained to the bane of existence. Who knows? We'll never know. Maybe I can ask, but I don't think even they know. Oh, Zizkov Tower. Nice. This looks pretty cool. Though, you know, it wasn't probably intentionally, just underexposed. A bit out of focus. Nice. Okay. In retrospect, I probably should have picked one of my films. Not that the pictures would be much better, but you know, it's at least something that I would know. Yeah, it was a really nice day though. Okay, this is weird. All right, let's take the blacks and darks down a little bit. Yeah, this is better. Okay. This is gonna sound horrible, but I think this is the first okay picture. Some flowers, more flowers. And a bit of underexposed stuff. Oh, that's my camera. Nice. And that's it. Okay, well, as I mentioned, I should have probably picked one of my films. But, you know, this is the first experience of somebody with taking analog pictures, so I wouldn't expect much. Either way, you know, we at least demonstrated how an NLP works and what do you need to prep the pictures. So let's wrap it up. So that's it. That's the whole workflow. Pull the AIO out of the drawer, scan the roll, process in Lightroom, and put it back. The whole thing took me maybe 20-30 minutes from start to finish, and honestly, most of that was the Lightroom part. The thing I'm most happy about with the AIO though is that it makes scanning kind of boring, and I mean that as a compliment. You know, it's not an event anymore. You don't need to spend 20 minutes setting up a tripod and aligning everything. You just, you know, do it and then move on with your life, which as someone who has a drawer full of unscanned film is exactly what I needed. Now, as for what is coming next, we've got a few things in the works. So we're finalizing insert for even more obscure film formats, and we're looking at a couple of other things that I'm not ready to talk about yet, because I will absolutely jinx it. But if you want to stay in the loop, the best place is this channel. And as always, if you have questions, drop them in the comments. And if you have the AIO and you're scanning with it, I would love to see your setup and your results. It's genuinely my favorite part of running this little operation. So thank you for watching, thank you for the support, and happy scanning.